Hello fellow YouTubers, this is Crosshouse123 doing a deck profile for you guys today. It's going to be my windups, but it's going to be a more competitive version of the deck. I'll leave a link in the description below of the old deck. You can check it out and see the kind of changes I've made. And of course, if you want to build windups, but you're a budget player, that's a bit of a budget deck itself. So let's get on with the windup OTK more competitive build. Of course, with it being a wind-up OTK, we're still running the 3 wind-up soldiers. The wind-up soldiers are your basic 4-star 1800 beat stick that can increase its level by 1 to make it a level 5 and increase its attack to 2200, getting over things like Thunder King Ryo, which stop this deck's searchability, and Cyber Dragon, which uses your Exceed monsters as fusion materials. Next, we have 3 wind-up sharks. The wind-up sharks are your special summoners of the deck. The ability to increase and decrease its level by 1 gives you the wide variety, or the wide range, of Exceed monsters and Synchro monsters you can use. That's why we're running 3 wind-up sharks. Next, 3 wind-up rats. These, of course, are in there to switch to defense mode, special summon a wind-up monster from your deck, from your graveyard, and Exceed. Don't really need to explain rat all that much. Next, we are using 2 wind-up magicians. Now, wind-up magician, I find is best at 2. At 3 is too much because you do need to rely on another wind-up monster to use her effect. But where 1 is just not enough because you can get so many pluses from wind-up magician, that I find it's just almost necessary to run 2. Next we have Wind-Up Rabbit. Now Wind-Up Rabbit is one of those cards that if you need a wind-up monster to just activate an effect, because most of them, as they all are a one-time use, Rabbit is the monster you want, as it can remove itself from the game, and special summon it back on the next standby phase. And of course, it doesn't have to use itself. So the nice combo I find with this is if you summon your, say, Wind-Up Magician, and you try to go for game that turn, you can special summon your wind-up rat with an ability, or rabbit, sorry, and remove your magician from the game. So if you do screw up, you have the magician special summon next turn to reuse its ability to regain field advantage. So that's why the rabbit is mainly in there. Next, we have our final wind-up monster, Wind-Up Kitten. Wind-Up Kitten is in there just to be able to get rid of cards that I can't get rid of by attacking over them, like Cyber Dragons with Honest in Hand, or Spirit Reaper, or Marshmallow. For our non-wind-up monsters, we have 3 Tour Guide from the Underworld, and 1 Sangan. Now, I'm not really going to explain Tour Guides or Sangan because everybody knows what Tour Guide and Sangan does. Same with Effect Veiler, you don't really have to explain it. All you need to know is that it's a very, very good card, hand trap. It's good that it's a tuner, and just gets rid of your opponent's effects. But our final monster is 1 Gen X Ally Birdman. He's in there to add some tuners into the deck, or mainly synchros, because you're not going to be using your Effect Veilers as tuners more often than that. And a nice combo with Birdman is that if you summon, say, your Tour Guide of the Underworld, and special summon Tour Guide from your deck, you can bounce the Tour Guide you special summoned to bring out your Birdman, and then you can either Exceed or Synchro. So that's a really nice combo. And then, of course, you have that last Tour Guide, have in your hand next turn. Next, we have our spells. We're running 3 Wind-Up Factories. 3 Wind-Up Factories only because I love Wind-Up Factory, and I find this deck works so much better if you have the factory to be able to search your monsters. Most people run 2, but I find 3 is the magic number for me. 2 Pot of Dualities. I'm not going to explain Pot of Duality. It's a staple. It helps you get your plays out. 2 Instant Fusions. Now, Instant Fusion is probably one of the best spells in the deck, allowing you to exceed so much easier by the cost of 1,000 life points. If you saw my video beforehand, I'll leave a link in the description below, of course, explaining this card so we don't have to do it here. From the Bottom of the Well, episode 2. So 2 instant fusions, 2 Mystical Space Typhoon. As it is an OTK-ish deck, you want to be able to destroy back row. We have 1 Heavy Storm, 1 Dark Hole, and 1 Pot of Avarice for our staples. Pot of Avarice I find is a staple in this. If you screw up, you've got your Pot of Avarice. For our traps, we have the Solemn Brigade. Enough said, don't really have to say anything about these guys. They negate stuff. And next, after that, we got 1 Mirror Force. I'm kind of debating on whether I want to take Mirror Force out for a bottomless or just keep it in there. So you can either have a Mirror Force or a bottomless. 1 Zen Maelstrom, probably one of my favorite trap cards in the deck. This card, a lot of people think it's garbage. It's very, very good. It's actually, you need to use it properly in order for it to be good. As its effect states, you need to tribute 1 wind-up monster with 1500 attack points or more to special summon 1 wind-up monster from your hand, then then you can special summon 1 wind-up monster with the same attack points as the monster you special summoned. So how do we use this very good? We will say we have 1 Zen Mayo on the field. Your opponent has 1 face down. You can either activate its effect. I would rather just bait it out. We'll have this set, and you attack with your Zen Mayo. Your opponent activates D-Prison. Activate your Zen Maelstrom and Chain, offering your Zen Mayo. Now it's lost the target. You can then special summon your Wind-Up Soldier in attack mode, and then from your hand, and then you can special summon another one from your deck. This allows you to attack for 1800 twice, doing more damage. As well as main phase 2, you activate their abilities to increase their level by 1 and go in for a Tyrus. If you do have a Tyrus, I don't really run Tyrus, but it's just something you can do. As well, another thing with this, of course, with that effect, we have Wind-Up Rat, sorry for the glare, and 1 Wind-Up Magician. They both have 600 attack points, so of course you can special summon that Magician, special summon that rat from your deck, and do your shenanigans. So of course, very, very good combo there. As well, that's again how Magician can really help. She works very well with Zen Maelstrom. And the final thing I'd like to say about Zen Maelstrom is that it's really nice if your opponent effect failures your, say, Zen Meiti. You can then activate your Zen Maelstrom, tributing your useless Zen Meiti, bring out your rat and your Magician, and go on and do more shenanigans. So that's why I usually use 1 Zen Maelstrom. And finally, 2 Overwinds. I'll leave in the link in the description below from episode 1 of From the Bottom of the Well. This card is just brilliant. I find, it's a code card. A card your opponent doesn't expect. That's what a code card is. And the nice thing about it is, if your opponent goes to Gores you, they can't. If you summon your Arsenal Zen Mayo and you overwind, that's 5200 damage, and they're not going to be able to Gores you, because that is usually game. As well, you can usually use it defensively. If your opponent attacks, say, your Zen Meiti, overwind. It goes to 3000 attackers, they've lost their monster, your monster goes back to your extra deck. So, both an offensive and a defensive card. Plus, the art really got me into making windups. It's actually the whole reason I made windups was Overwind. Now, for the extra deck, we are using 3 carriers. It's kind of obvious if you're running windups, you need to run the carriers. Detach, special summon a windup. Next, we are using 2 Zen Mayos, your OTK of the deck. But the nice thing about it is that you detach 1 material off him, and he destroys 2 face-down cards on the field. If your opponent chains to it, they can still chain to it, but the card is still destroyed. 1 Arduous Keeper of Armageddon. I like Arduous Keeper of Armageddon because it's more offensive. I don't have Tyrus yet. But for now, I'm using just the Adrius Keeper of Armageddon to detach, destroy, and attack. When Utopia is in this, you make all your guys. If your opponent survives and you bring out Utopia, you can detach to negate the attacks. One Zenmeister, and I'm going to put Terabyte with it. You guys know what these do. These guys are right now just in there for randomness, and they will be taken out once Zen Mains comes out. So that's why I put those two together. One Giga Brilliant. Let's see if we can get our camera to focus here. But yes, one Giga Brilliant is in there just for the, it's easy to summon and you can beef up all of your monsters. That's pretty much all it's in there for. Make all your monsters beefy and go for a game. Next we have one Leviathan. He's in there, of course, just in case. Special summon it and make it 2500 attacker. You can get over most cards. That's it for the Exceeds. Now on to our Synchros. We're only running two. One Bryonic Dragon of the Ice Barrier. I really don't have to explain Bryonic. It is just a stupid broken card. And one Mistworm. This card is very situational. And of course, you'll notice in my old video, I had Black Rose Dragon in it. I don't anymore because I never actually used Black Rose Dragon once. I find that I'll probably use Mistworm a lot more. And for our fusions, we have Alligator's Sword Dragon for level 5, and our Fusionist for our level 3. Now, a lot of people will say, well, why do you use Alligator Sword Dragon and not the Ojama Knight? It doesn't really matter. If your opponent has a bottomless, they're not going to bottomless this. So the fusion doesn't really matter. Excuse me, sorry about that. So yeah, the fusion doesn't matter. If they bottomless it, then you've baited a bottomless, but that would be a very bad move on their part. So those are the two monsters. So that's the deck. Comment, rate, subscribe. Let me know what you would do to change this deck, other than maybe adding the Hunter. I don't really want to use the Hunter. And if I did, I would use it for a different reason. But yes, comment, rate, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the deck. Let me know what you would do to fix the deck. And that's everything. This is Crowdhouse123 with that deck profile, hopefully bringing out more content for you guys. Signing out.